if you like betting on golf, but everyone that you back misses the cut. Get some experts involved with all the stats and the tips and so much more, 'cause it's the golf betting system, the golf betting system, it's the golf betting system podcast.
Greetings and welcome to the Golf Betting System podcast. It's episode 374. This is our 2025 DP World India Championship Tips podcast. Barry O'Hanrahan and Paul Williams join me, Steve Bamford, to discuss this week's DP World Tour action. Good morning, gents.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, guys.
This podcast is for listeners of 18 and above. Please be gamble aware. You can visit gambleaware.org for more information. And of course, please bet responsibly. Visit our world-famous golf betting system website, where we have our in-depth betting preview for the India Championship. Paul has been in the stats lab pulling together this week's data. We have detailed Delhi Golf Club course form, player form and combi sheets, plus new and old predictor models for the Indian headliner this week. All of our content is available completely free of charge. There is no paywall or registration required. On X, you can follow Barry at A Good Talk Golf. Paul is at Golf Betting. I am at Bamford Golf. We're on Bluesky. Search for Steve Bamford and Paul Williams. Subscribe to the Steve Bamford Golf YouTube channel, where this podcast is available each and every week. Thanks for the additional comments last week, listeners. That was very, very much appreciated. Great for the algorithm, so keep them coming. Now, I've got to report here, guys, there are no 5-star reviews to read. I do apologise. So it's going to be a rather boring segment, this. Is for those of you who can leave a review for next week, I would read them out. So leave your name and where you are in the review. We are absolutely out of reviews. So
let's completely ignore the fact that we might actually not deserve any 5-star reviews. So
or any kind of review. As I've said in the past,
exactly.
All you've got, just type comment, type anything.
He can't read comment out next week.
Comment.
For
the algo.
I bet we will get a couple of reviews next week with just the word comment, and that'll be good.
That'd be great.
We'll take it.
That'd be great. So anyway, no reviews to read, but please keep them coming. One other positive, though. We did jump through the 700 barrier on 5-star on Spotify, so thank you very much for that.
Very good.
But yes, some reviews would be nice from wherever you are around the globe. I mean, they've got to be golf nuts now, haven't they? Just tuning in for the DP World India Championship.
Yes, yeah, we're getting to that point of the season, aren't we, where it's winding up towards its end. Only 3 more events to go after this on the DP Worlds. I think there might be, it's a bit staggered, isn't it? The PGA Tour. So I think the RSM sits the week after the DP World Tour Championship this year. But
yeah,
yes, we're getting there.
Okay. I don't really want to talk about last week because it destroyed me mentally. But Paul, do you want to quickly go through the Open d'Espagne? Testing course as ever, isn't it? You know, no one taking any real liberties with the golf course.
Well, no, it's not as scoreable as it perhaps once was, and there's a bit of a challenge around there, particularly when you're missing fairways and greens. But actually a frustrating one, because I did get all 4 of my picks through to the weekend, and Grant Forrest was the best chance going into Sunday. He was 6th heading into the final day. Led the field for greens in regulation, Forrest, but just too many mistakes, too many missed putts, makeable missed putts as well. It was across all of the players that I followed closely. There were a hell of a lot of kind of 2, 3, 4 footers missed during the course of the week. So you just can't do that with any regularity and expect to win the golf tournament. He's still playing some nice stuff for us. So if there's another event potentially that fits him during the latter part of this season, then perhaps I'll go back in and have another go, but we'll see. But Marco Penge, he's seriously impressive. We've talked about Penge a lot this season. Top 50 in the world, now 3rd win of the season as well, with his victory last week. Not completely fluent on Sunday compared to how he'd played up until that point, but did just about enough and made the putt in the playoff to beat Dan Brown. So I a little bit relieved because I backed Brown the week before at the Dunhill Links, and then of course he comes through and gives himself a great chance.
Yeah,
he seems to hang on to a Links form for one more Parkland tournament like incredibly well. Dan Brown,
yeah,
it seems to just invigorate him for that extra week.
It's a funny one with Brown because he does play his best golf on links circuits, or links courses, but he's certainly stepped up on Parkland style tracks this year and just moved to a new level. He's just got this niggling injury, hasn't he? He withdrew from the Dunhill Links in the end. As you know, the weather worsened, and don't blame him for that really, but struggling with his neck again last week, and I think just needs to get himself fit and healthy, and he could have a cracking 2026. We shall see. But yeah, back to Penge. I mean, we knew his PGA Tour card was sewn up anyway, but it's doubly sewn up. He's pushing Rory for the Race to Dubai title now.
Well, I was just looking at it. 4,085 points for McIlroy. 8 events played. Marco Penge, 24 events played. Not that you should have a dig at him for that. 3,691. So
he's comfortably the best regular season DP World Tour player of all the ones who are playing it full time. He's streets ahead of them. Right hand's a very good second as well, but Penge he's going to be it's going to be a loss to the DP World Tour. Like PGA Tour is getting a serious player and a highlight reel player. So
yeah, there's going to be some courses that really suit him.
Yeah, I was going to say just for reference, especially of our PGA Tour North American brethren, how would you classify Penge? What courses on the PGA Tour is he going to really like next year? Bermuda, Ben, Poa, what's he like?
Like a really consistent, super talented Cam Champ. Like can murder the ball, but is just better at other things like irons, putting. What do you think? I'm trying to analogize his game. He hits it higher though, so Cam Champ hits those like low bullets, but I don't know. It's like Cam Champ meets Rory McIlroy. Just nukes the ball.
He's a proper athlete, isn't he? Hits the ball a mile. One of your modern style golfers. I'm not sure that I would pigeonhole him in terms of agronomy at this stage. You get a wider range of grasses to play on in the States than you do over on the DP World Tour. Aside from the Middle East events generally. So I wouldn't pigeonhole in that. I think some of the longer, more open courses are gonna. I don't know. You go to a Mexico or something like that. It could suit him beautifully. Did I read that Mexico's not on the circuit next?
I think they take. Did you mention it last week off Mike that they've taken it out of the schedule?
Something's
Vedanta
ringing a bell, which would be a shame. I guess things are still being finalised for next year, but I think there'll be plenty of opportunity to kind of tie him into an event and see how he goes. Torrey Pines, that kind of course where he could really have open his shoulders. I don't know.
A couple of years
ago,
to see. Nikolai Højgaard went out there, didn't he? And I think he finished second at Torrey Pines.
Yeah,
on his course debut. Yeah, and I would assume that Penge will probably play a Dubai or something early over here and then head off to the States potentially. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
he's a proper player, isn't he?
Yes. Well, he's going to be able to pick and choose, isn't he? He got his Masters invite as a result of that win, an Open invite. He's going to be top 50 in the world anyway, so he's going to be pretty much playing what he wants next year. So certainly one to keep an eye on. We'll see how deep the bookies get their teeth into him in terms of his price at the start of next year, but hopefully there's a little bit of juice to begin with at least, and we can have some fun with him.
Penge is at 1. I'm talking the PGA Tour top 10 promotion. Rattan at 2. Rattan. Sadio 3. John Parry 4. Alex Noren at 5. Haotong Lee, who's falling, at 6. Daniel Brown up to 7. big deal for Daniel Brown. Jordan Smith at 8. Laurie Cantor, as we said last week, not in the greatest of form, Laurie Cantor. And Martin Kuvra is on the bubble. Elvis Smiley is now dropped out because of Daniel Brown's performance last week in Spain. So you've got Smiley. You've got Joachim Lagergren, who got us a full each-way place last week, Barry and myself. Niergard Pettersson, Daniel Hillier, Keita Nakajima. Then you've got the likes of Norris, Iora, Jaden Shaper, Tristan Lawrence. Doesn't look like Lawrence is going to keep his card on the PGA Tour, so he might be one to keep an eye on, trying to burst into this top 10 again.
Yeah, just hold that thought, Stephen.
Yeah, he could just pop on the Middle East, right? Or one of these late season events.
Yes.
Potentially.
Yeah. Over in Japan, we had the Bay Current Classic. Xander ended his, what would it have been, 14-month drought without a PGA Tour victory. 10-1 favourite, so well done to Xander. For the intervening gap, I was all over Xander, but of course I didn't pick him. I picked Hideki instead, so that was one of my wrist slitting decisions from last week. But I enjoyed the course. There was plenty of, as we said, the Thursday it was blowing up to 40 miles an hour. That sorted the wheat from the chaff. That's definitely gone on to the wind statistics for the predictor model.
Yeah.
Then there was plenty of rain on Saturday, so we had a very soft course Saturday and Sunday. But we had a familiar situation in Japan where you have, it tends to break down this way every year. You have one of the elites that hasn't won for a while. So it was Xander this year. Last year it was JT. The year before that it was Colin Morikawa. And Ricky Fowler was up there as well. Keegan Bradley the year before that. And then you have one of these guys that you wouldn't have expected to be anywhere near. Now, if you looked at Max Grazeman's form, I think I saw something like 5 missed cuts and a 36th place in his last 6. And he turns up in Japan and he's playing the most amazing golf. But in the end, Xander saw Max off at 19 under par for Xander, 18 under for Max. And then this is the stuff that starts making me really, really laugh. We've all been over Michael Thorbjornsen. You were on him at Sanderson, weren't you, Paul? He comes in 3rd. Garrick Higo continued his form in 4th. I was all over Rico Hoey at the Sanderson Farms. He then starts to putt. He finished tied for 4th. And the one that really got me was Takumi Kanaya. I said to Paul, literally on Monday, yeah, he's the Japanese guy I really fancy. Takumi Kanaya, and of course I didn't put him in, and he gets a full each way place at 80-1.
Steve, you're like the golf therapist. Like you bring in these kind of slightly broken golfers, you help them resolve their issues, you build them up, and then you set them free, and you don't think about them again until they pop up and win or do really well.
Yeah, you should be pleased for him, Steve.
You get no reward or no thanks for your work. Maybe you need a rule when you build them up. You just need to hang on with one more week or one more bet, or get one of us to back them.
Yeah.
I mean, what do we do with Max Homer moving forward? You said to me earlier he's broken. Yes,
I thought he was. I thought he'd broken through. He was broken. I thought he'd then broken through. The signs are there, right? What did he shoot? 4 under on the last day. Yes,
the other 3 days that weren't so good.
This is a problem, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe you just need to put Max in the Gary Woodland bag and just not back him and just enjoy the wins when they come along. Stop trying to catch the lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. He'll turn it round.
He will turn it round. I always go down to base tax with golf as well, because the thing with Max is clearly he'd like to be in the top 100 and he'd like to do this, but he doesn't actually have to. He's got win exemptions. So you see what I'm saying? Paul always says to me, with a lot of these golfers, it literally becomes to the time when it is SHIT or bust. And from a motivational perspective, all of a sudden you see results coming in. They know they have to deliver. I mean, we've just been talking about Tristan Lawrence. If he wants to play on the PGA Tour next year, he needs to literally probably win a golf tournament or at least finish second over the next couple of outings. It's these kind of moments with these golfers. It is moments of clarity. I need to do something. You know, golfers like Max Homer, who probably knows that he's going to get exemptions and sponsor invites to some of these big tournaments anyway. It's muddy.
The golf professional psychoanalyst Steve Bamford is available for hire. He can help you figure out your head.
I need to figure out my own head. That's the real issue here.
There's no fixing that. On that point,
Exactly.
about the fine margins and just like that one bit of pressure. Jamie Kennedy had a great tweet about Marco Penge last year, and he had a birdie put on the 18th from about 5 foot, and he said if he missed it, he would have missed his DP World Tour card.
Yeah,
and since that, he's gone from like 400 and something in the world to win 3 times, and now he's in the Masters and the Open. And like, honestly, I'm like really exciting golfer, and one we'll definitely be following quite closely next year. And God, he'd be box office at the Ryder Cup if he still is playing at this level in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, or better.
Sliding door moments.
Or better, yeah.
Corn Ferry. We mentioned it last week at the end of the podcast with Johnny Kiefer. They had their Corn Ferry Tour Championship closer last week in, I think it was Indiana. Chandler Planchette won that one. So here's the top 50. These guys now have PGA Tour cards for 2026, okay? So Kiefer topped the standings, the order of merit. Planchette 2. Austin Smotherman at 3. He played the PGA Tour for a couple of years, I believe, Smotherman. Dropped down, now been promoted. The very precocious talent that is Neil Shipley. He's in. Emiliano Gonzalez, Mexican. Hank Lebioda, he's coming back to the PGA Tour. As is ADC, Adrien Domond de Chassard. He's back. S.H. Kim, he's coming back as well. Then we've got Christo Lambrecht of the South African. Davis Chatfield.
The big guy, Christo Lambrecht, Steve.
Yeah.
Pot Geeter-like.
No, but massively tall.
Height-wise, yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
okay.
Have you seen him? Oh my, go watch him
6'10"
afterwards.
or something. Yeah,
I think he's
big
18'4". Yeah, he's a big boy.
Davis Chatfield, Zach Bachow. My pronunciations are cracking here. Pearson Coody, Paul's favourite. Paul always loves putting up Pearson Coody at 22-1 at the Puerto Rico Open.
Yeah.
Then we've got S.T. Lee, Jeffrey Kang, Kinsei Hirata from Japan, Trace Crow, he's coming back to the PGA Tour. Talented youngster John van der Laan. He had a good run when he was doing some sponsors exemptions last year, van der Laan. He's in. Our old favourite, Marty Doo's back from China. Pontus Nyholm, the Swede, got in 20th place. And I've left the 19th place guy to last. You're going to love this guy.
Wait,
right?
I can't wait for this.
Let's concentrate. Let's really focus. Sudarshan Yelamaraju. He got in 19th place.
Disappointingly well done, Steve.
Sudarshan Yelamaraju. I was actually practicing that yesterday. He's Canadian, by the way. So there's your top 20. They're playing PGA Tour golf. You will see them. You might see a couple of them at the Sony Open. I doubt if you'll get all 20 in, but you'll definitely see them all. The first one you'll see them all at, it will be the American Express.
Yes.
There'll be some talented guys in there. It's just knowing the ones that we really want. I mean, we know a bit about ADC, don't we? There's plenty there. I mean, Neil Shipley's a talented guy. Also, if I remember correctly, at this point last year, we had the same. We had a promotion group that clearly gone Corn Ferry Tour, PJ Tour. And then Matt McCarty from nowhere took out the Black Desert Championship straight from the Corn Ferry.
Yes.
So it'd be interesting to see if any of these get into this Utah Bank Championship next week. I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Shipley gets in. So yes, Johnny Kiefer potentially, because he's still going for this top 50 spot. He's 51st in the world, Johnny Kiefer.
Yeah. They'll have to get an invite, I take it. There must be plenty of players still wanting to.
Yeah, I suppose they'd have to get a sponsor's invite, or they might even have one of these Monday qualifiers.
Yeah,
I don't know if someone like Johnny Kiefer, who's 51st in the world, would lower himself to do a Monday qualifier, but who knows? Anything else to bring up about last week, or should we move on to the DP World India Championship?
No, not for me. Should we crack on?
Yes. Let's crack on. Paul, take it away, because we do have some course form here, don't we? I know it's a new event on the schedule, but it's a course that we have seen on the DP World Tour before.
Yeah, it is a new event. As you say, the DP World India Championship. But it's been played at the Delhi Golf Club, which is something, a course that used to be a staple part of the old European Tour schedule up until 2015, 2016 with the Indian Open. So we do have some stats. I'll run through the various data that we've got on the site in a second, but first thing to say is that someone at the DP World headquarters has certainly had the checkbook out this week, because there's a decent number of superstars in town for this event, which is good to see. It does make it a bit of a challenging event from a betting perspective, but from a viewing spectacle, it should be fantastic. We've got Rory McIlroy here as well. The 5-1 favourite. He opened generally at 4-1 or shorter, and there's been very little love thus far for Rory McIlroy. So he's been pushed out in places to 5-1. Tommy Fleetwood 6-1. Ben Griffin and Victor Hovland, both of them started or opened as single figure chances. Both of them again have drifted. Griffin's now 11-1 in spots, and Victor Hovland's available at 12-1 in selected places. So all four of the top players are drifting out in the market at present. Brian Harmon's here as well, 20-1. Shane Lowry's here, 22s. 30-1 bar those players. So there's a lot of quality, a lot of Ryder Cup quality at the top of the betting market this week. I'd say the bookies have kind of responded to it. Some of them have kind of treated this more as an Asian Tour or an Indian Tour event by the looks of it, from the way they've priced it up and the way they've structured their each way terms. But Boyle Sports have certainly attacked it. They've gone 10 places each way, a fifth of the odds as standard this week. Bet365 have got their 8, 10 and 12 place markets available this week, and both Coral and Ladbrokes have gone 7 places with some decent prices too. So do have a little shop around if you're placing a bet this week, because as I say, some of the bookies are a little bit more miserly this week. So pick your bookie carefully, I'd say. Now, in terms of the course, we are playing at the Delhi Golf Club. It's the first time since 2016, and as I say, it used to be a regular feature in the tour back in the day. Loads of history. There's often been 2, maybe 3 events hosted here per year on the Asian Tour, the Indian circuit, and of course when it used to be on the European Tour too. So I've gone back to 2010 on the history sheet on the site this week, just to try and rein in the actual amount of data on there. You could have gone all the way back to the late 90s quite comfortably, but the sheet would have been incredibly cumbersome by that point. But yeah, do take a look through if you're interested. There's lots of local players with lots of form who've played up to and including last year, and on the local circuit. So lots of players who you could make a case for, certainly much further down the betting list as well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the odd one or two pop up with a chance of making an each way place at a silly long price. So I wouldn't be surprised if many a punter is taking a chance on someone a bit more outrageous this week. Anyway, the course, 6,912 yard par 72. It's a classical tree-lined, fiddly little course. It has had a renovation since the last time we saw it. Gary Player's team came along in 2019 and they updated the greens and the bunkering. They've relayed all the greens, or going through a process of relaying the greens with Ultra Dwarf Bermuda. So that was 2019. It's probably 6 years down the line. I think they should have bedded in nicely now, so I can't see them being massively bouncy, massively firm, like some new greens are, but we shall see. There were 4 reachable par 5s and 4 sub 400 yard par 4s here as well. Certainly not a pushover though. Scoring rarely gets out of control here, which may surprise you really when you look at a sub 7,000 yard par 72 with a good 8 scoreable holes there. Generally something kind of from 7 to 17 under, somewhere in that bracket, depends on the conditions. It's a typical winning score. There's nothing in the weather forecast to worry the players either this week from what I can see. Hot, sunny, light winds, 90 Fahrenheit, so was that 32 centigrade, the conditions for the week. So I guess with the quality that's there this week, perhaps mid-teens under par wins this. It could edge up towards that kind of upper end of the winning spectrum this week. So it could be 15, 16, 17, something like that. But we shall see, of course, if they tuck the pins away, then it could be a little bit more challenging. Data's really patchy from the lower grade events that we've had held here. So if you are looking for there's certainly no strokes gained data historically. And there are a few of the events that have been held over the years that have some traditional data stats. Fairways and greens helps if you're hitting those here. Short game tends to be the real shining beacon though. The stat that comes through from various renewals of this. Length off the tees, of little consequence. A lot of the players will be taking irons or woods off the tees. Driver certainly won't be a club that you'll use with any regularity this week. It's much more of a strategic plotter's course. You can see that from the players that have won here. SSP Chowrasia has won here 3 times. It's a long time since I've been able to mention Chowrasia in a podcast, but he's won here 3 times. He was perennially the shortest hitter on the tour, and by some stretch, some years when he was playing on the old European tour back in the day. Magical short game though. Chiputsia was the nickname for Chowrasia, and quite rightly so, because he has a fantastic short game, and he's managed to get over the line here 3 times. So I think that gives you an indication of the kind of player who could perform here. It's certainly not a bomber's paradise. The flip side of that is some of the more wayward drivers won't need to take the big dog out of the bag this week. So it opens the door for many a player, but I think you're going to need something or some ability on and around the greens to actually seriously contend and potentially win this week. Other data that we've got, if you look at the current form of the last 10 winners here on this course, each of them at a top 20 in his last 5 starts. 8 of the 10 had a top 10 in their last 5 starts too. So I think players coming in with kind of flatlining incoming form, maybe not the best signal. Someone who's shown a little bit over the last few weeks or couple of months would be a good starting point, I think. Course form is interesting though, and we do often see this with these kind of quirky tracks. A lot of the same names tend to pop up. Anibana Lahiri's won here 4 times. Chowrasia, as I say, has won here 3 times. There was an event last year that was won by Jitesh Sandhu, and his course form prior to that, his previous 3 starts had been second, third, second, and then a win. So it's going to appeal to certain kind of players. There are, as I say, there's a lot of local players who've got an awful lot of experience of this. So if you want to try and pluck out a local who might manage to get himself into the places, then do check out the event stats sheet, because there's a few pointers there, and some of the prices are astronomical on some of these local players. So.
Have you tweeted that sheet out, Paul?
I've put the combi sheet out. Yeah, the event sheet, which goes back even further, might be a.
Maybe you should just put it out there. Yeah, put it out there in the ether.
Could be more use to people wanting to go back all the way, as I say, back to 2010, and there's stacks even before that if you want to do your own research to go back to.
Barry's desperately going through it right now, I reckon. He's got his 2004, 2005.
This might be the thing that gets us 1 5-star review with the just comment.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Oh dear. As I say, it is a bit of a minefield from a betting perspective, because you've got Rory, you've got Tommy, you've got Ben Griffin, Hovland, Harman, Lowry. The only one of those with any course experience is Fleetwood, and that was, he tied 67th on his one and only start back in 2016. So these guys are all coming in to this event off the back of the Ryder Cup and with no tangible course experience. And you could attempt to make a case for any of them. They're all super short in the betting, and equally they could all fall flat in the face. It is that kind of course that could catch any or all of them out. So I don't know. My first selection's now 35-1. It was 40s yesterday. So before I go into that, I'll just ask you boys if either of you have any interest in any of the guys kind of 30-1 or shorter this week, or if you've backed any of those. Steve, you don't mind a shorty now and again. Do you got anything that you fancied in that bracket?
Not 30-1 or shorter, no.
So you're swerving the top of the market. I think I know the answer from Barry, but let's ask him. He may have an opinion about someone at the top.
On the basis that my comments about Steve letting his players go after therapy biting him in the ass, I might have to stick with Ankel Ayora. Missed the top 8 last week, but playing really nice golf. So I think just to save the. You hear how dejected Steve is this week. I don't want me to be that person next week, so I'll just I'll put a few euro on him just to keep me sane. But the rest of my bets are a bit further out.
He's the only one up there that I would actually back, because he's got what you need here. I think he's got motivation.
Yeah.
I think there's something in potentially a course like Leopard Creek down in South Africa, which is heavily tree-lined. Is it the Alfred Dunhill they play?
They've relayed the greens there with Bermuda the last few years as well.
Yeah,
so there could
exactly.
be some correlation.
And Ayora got a top 5 there at the end of last year.
Mm. Yeah, I get that.
He's the one.
If you'd have really, really, really pushed me to take someone at the top, then I may have gone for Tommy, because Tommy's sitting there. I forget the actual number. Let's say 95th in the race to Dubai, and I'm assuming there's going to be no special exemptions for Tommy Fleetwood to enable him to play these 2 playoff events at the back end of the DP World Tour season. So he's going to need to get into the top 70 to play Abu Dhabi and top 50 to play the DP World Tour Championship. So he's over here this week, and quite frankly, if that's the case, then he's going to need to perform. So, could you see Tommy finishing top 5 anyway and sneaking into the, giving himself a chance in Abu Dhabi? Quite possibly. But I think if there's one player that could again build on his Tour Championship victory potentially, Tommy. But yeah, I from a betting perspective, I couldn't go there.
It's an interesting metric, isn't it? You've got. I mean, I'm looking at Star Sports here. They've got. I mean, if we'd have had this conversation even 6 months ago, you'd say we were crazy. So Rory McIlroy at 5-1, or Tommy Fleetwood at 6-1.
Yeah,
that close.
Mm-hmm.
Just shows you how plate tectonics change in golf betting.
Oh dear. Yeah. Well, you can't write either of them off, and that's the issue. And that is the issue with this market, and that's kind of why it's led me to go further down. Because if you're getting an each way place which is comparable to, or the place part's comparable to the win only on one of the boys at the top, then I think I'd rather take that chance. So yeah, the first player I went with is the aforementioned Aniban Lahiri, who's a 4-time winner here. Now, I backed him yesterday at 40-1 with BetMGM. He's now best price 35s. Actually, it's worth talking about BetMGM for a minute, because 3 of my 4 selections this week I placed with them, and I've used them a little bit more recently. There's been a thread on our Facebook group about Unibet. Yeah. And about them not offering each way places or each way prices since they came under new ownership recently. So I looked for an alternative, and BetMGM used the same odds compilers as Unibet used to. So I guess if you liked the old Unibet odds and markets and the way that the way they structured their site, etc., then well worth checking out BetMGM. As I say, I've got 3 of my 4 bets away with them this week, which is good. Generally not offering massive each way terms. It's 6 places and a fifth of the odds for this, although they do push them out a little bit for the majors.
7 for majors.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what else they're good for as well. First round leader bets.
Well,
because you get genuine 6 places each way on both tours, week in, week out. And I often see, because I take, recordings of all of these prices, you often see them also offering market best price.
Yes.
I can't find another firm now that's offering 6 places. I'm talking of the traditional big brands. They're all offering 5 places and a quarter the odds, the old standard each way place terms.
Yeah.
So if you fancy an extra place and good prices, Unibet on first round leader are pretty much out there on their own.
Well, yes, they were Unibet. Yeah, again,
Oh, sorry, not Unibet. I'm getting confused. BetMGM.
Well, this was the point, and I used to use Unibet pretty exclusively for first round leader bets, and again, it's that option's dropped away, so it gives you an alternative. Yeah, if you're interested, there's just flick through the site. There's the latest new customer offer on there for your BetMGM if you fancy it. Bet 10 get 40. I'm sure Steve can pop the terms and conditions in the podcast description if you are interested. Anyway, a bit of an aside, because I did use them for 3, which I thought was pretty good this week. Anyway, back to Lahiri. I mentioned him earlier, 4 times winner on this course. He won the Panasonic Open, he won the Sale Open twice, he won the Indian Open back in 2015. He was the 8-1 favourite when I went back through my 2016 notes to defend this, or to defend the Indian Open as it was back in 2016. He finished second, so it gives you a flavour as to how high he's been estimated in the past. The wins have dried up a bit since for Lahiri. It's come close on a number of occasions, though. Second at TPC Sawgrass at the Players' Championship back in 2022, you may recall. Moved over to Live, second on his debut on Live at Live Boston, and he's had 5 further runner-up finishes on Live over the years, including in June at Live Virginia. So I wonder if a return to Delhi, a return to a course that he has mastered 4 times will be just what he needs to get himself back to winning ways. We shall see. I've got a couple at 50s, which I'll rattle through and I'll bring you boys in. Adrian Sadier I've backed, 50-1 best price. at the moment and being backed quite heavily. So I'm sure he's going to go off 40, 45 to 1, Adrian Sadier. Won the Italian Open back in June. That was another short tree-line track. Plenty of promise since then without getting another win. 4th to halfway at Denmark. Led to halfway at Cran-sur-Sierre. Led after 54 holes at the K Club in Ireland and then lost that playoff to Alex Noren at Wentworth. And to be fair, didn't do much wrong at all at Wentworth. Just ran into an inspired Alex Noren who pipped him in the playoff. Tailed off at the Dunhill Links last time. That for me is of very little consequence. Could well bounce back here. He was also 5th in India earlier in the year at the DLF Golf and Country Club. So has some Indian form too. So quite happy to go in with Adrian Sadier. The other player is, again, the aforementioned Tristan Lawrence, who is available right now. 50 to 1 is the best price we're going to get on him as of Tuesday morning. Second for scrambling last week in Spain. 85% was his scrambling figure. So that really caught the eye list last week. And these shorter tree line tests seem to be his forte. So could well go well here, I think. Relatively poor season on the PGA Tour, and you mentioned it, Steve, down to, and was outside the top 150 for on that full series rankings. So he's returned to the DP World Tour now. He won the Amiga Masters when he came back onto the DP World Tour in August. That's the second time that he's won on that track, that short, fiddly tree line track. So we know there's going to be some logical correlation there, I think. He's entered this week. He's entered next week in South Korea as well. And then, of course, you've got the playoff series for the DP World Tour. So it looks, again, to your point, that he's focusing on that route to retaining his PGA Tour card. He's 25th on the Race to Dubai overall, and I guess that translated, as you said there, to was circa 18th or thereabouts in terms of getting that card. So it's certainly not out of his reach should he manage another win or a couple of really strong finishes over the course of the next few weeks. So I can see Tristan Lawrence really focusing on this and potentially coming out with another win. And we know he can win. 5 times a winner now on the DP World Tour. So, yes, well capable. Now, my last one's 90 to 1. So let's bring you boys in here. Any sub 100 to 1 picks for you, Barry, before I ask Steve?
Very middle of the road. Bang in the middle, 50 to 1. I took him 51 10 places on 365 for Hugo Cousseau, who has just been playing some nice golf recently and good stats last week in terms of greens, putting, scrambling. So just kind of ride the hot hand, and he's got plenty of distance off the tee, so he can kind of club down around here. See, can he merge it all together?
Yeah, played well last week, didn't he? Did play it well last week. Couldn't put you off. What you, Steve? Any sub hundreds for you?
I'm following you on Lawrence. It's interesting, his schedule, actually. He played the Irish Open, missed the cut. He played Wentworth, missed the cut. That was after his win at the European Masters in August. Then he flew out to the Sanderson Farms, finished 48th. Flew directly back to Madrid, finished 23rd last week. He plays this week in India, then goes to South Korea. So he clearly has now said, right, this is DP World now to the end of the year. And that's his route back onto the PGA Tour for 26.
Yeah.
So I think he's an interesting character. And we know, is it 5 DP World Tour wins?
Yeah. He can win, can't he?
He can get over the line, Tristan. It's got to this point of total clarity now. He's got nothing to lose. He's going to make the Earth course, isn't he? He's already with that win. So,
yes.
Yeah. I fancy him to go well this week on a short course, tree line. That's his kind of jam. The other one I do like, I'm keeping it South African this week, which, I don't know, we'll see if that's good or bad, is Jaden Shaper. played very, very sweetly last week. We mentioned his name in terms of this top 10 back to into the PGA Tour. He's on the fringes. One of these guys for me is kind of fairways and greens, but also he can string plenty of top 10s together. I don't think he's got over the line yet on the DP World Tour, but he's been trending for a while now, isn't he? Good young talent.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he hasn't got over the line anywhere that I've seen professionally, which I guess is the only thing that may put you off. But he will win. He will win something because he's that good. Worth mentioning his short game as well, because he led the field last week for scrambling, and actually his short game has been on point for a number of weeks now. So I did toy with Jaden Shaper, I must say. So again, I really couldn't put you off if you fancy a punt, and he's been quite popular in the market as well since they opened yesterday lunchtime. So yeah, got a chance, I think, and he will break through. He's got that quality, so it's just a case of when, I think.
So I think I'm firmed up. I'm going for the two South Africans, and sorry, Barry, I'm going to follow you in on Iura.
That's okay. Let's go. I've one other. I'm going to go for Jeff Winter. Super accurate. Just hoping to merge that kind of skill set with this type of course.
Yeah.
Poking up a round or two here or there recently, so see, can I sneak a place with him?
Yeah, okay, yeah. There's bits to like about Jeff, so yeah, can't disagree. The one I've backed, similar kind of price, is Callum Hill at 90-1, and I had a good look at him. I've mentioned this before in the pod. I had a good look at him before this year's Joburg Open, as he'd popped on a number of my stats, and I eventually put a line through him because he'd come in off the back of 3 missed cuts, and then of course he wins. So that did teach me a lesson. Similar scenario this week, because he's popped on a number of the points that I was looking at. He's got a really good record on shorter tree line tests, and difference this time is that he's shown some form coming into this. 22nd in Paris, 32nd at the Dunhill Links, and then 9th last week in Madrid. And his scrambling is the number that I picked out. He's been top 8 for scrambling on those 3 consecutive events. Best putting performance of the year came in Dubai earlier this year on Bermuda greens, so he can putt Bermuda putting surfaces, and it seems to be coming in with a little bit of momentum, Callum Hill. So I thought 90-1, which is still quite widely available as of Tuesday morning, was more than backable, I think. Anyway, that's my 4: Callum Hill, Tristan Lawrence, Adrian Sadier, Aniban Lahiri. Again, you could go down and pick out some of the longer prices. Dan Bradbury was interesting for me, but I left him alone. I think if Bradbury hits an awful lot of greens this week, it'd go well. Ajitesh Sandhu, I mentioned earlier, comes in off the back of some really strong course form as well. So he could go well as one of the locals. A silly long price. But yeah, I couldn't quite get there with those. I think the problem we've got is that the guys at the top of the market could well sap, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the each way places if you're going with extended places. So you've got to pick your people carefully, I think, this week. We'll see.
Interesting. Should be a good tournament to actually take in.
Yes.
I would assume there's going to be big crowds there. Big crowds.
Yes, and being in India, we should get some kind of early morning or late morning TV action as well, which is good. It's one of those we can actually watch.
Absolutely. I was looking at the field for next week over in South Korea for you, the Genesis. Now that's the tournament that Ben Arn won.
Yes,
12 months ago. Yeah. Funny, isn't it, with golf, and we've said this so many times on this podcast, that people that are coming up to defending their title, and Ben Arn is not exactly, he doesn't do it very often, does he? And all of a sudden, the outing before he defends his title, he pops in with a top 4 finish last week in Japan. but you've got Sung Jae Im, Hideki's playing, Siwoo Kim, Ben Arn. There's 4 good names there, isn't there?
It is, yeah. I was just flicking through earlier to see if Tom Kim was playing, but he doesn't. He's not on the list. Adam Scott's playing as well. So, yeah, there's some good players next week over in South Korea for us to get our teeth into. Different course next week, just from eyeballing it earlier. So, again, another one we're going to need to do a bit of research into before next week.
Oh, it's a different course, just
Yeah, the DP World Tour do like to throw these curveballs in every week, don't they?
That would be fascinating for you to pull course form together over on the Korean tour.
I very much
for
look
Woo
forward
Jong Hills Country Club.
Yeah,
mate, you better start pulling that data together now.
I know. 9 o'clock job on a Tuesday.
Dear, that's nasty. Well, I hope your bets go well, gentlemen.
Yeah, best luck, boys.
You too, boys.
Best luck to listeners. We'll be back next week for the Genesis Championship and the Utah Bank Championship back on the PGA Tour. See you later.
If you like betting on golf, but everyone that you back misses the cut, get some experts involved with all the stats and the tips and so much more. 'Cause it's the golf betting system. The golf betting system is the